Good morning everyone. In today's class basically we'll try to solve a few problems by using the MATLAB, and in what we'll try to do, we'll try to implement whatever we have learned in the previous lectures, like the array operation, matrix operation, matrix manipulation. So just I'm going to take few examples which will actually clear your concept by which actually you can solve the sum of the given problem. See here one example is problem is write a program to print cube of all the even numbers between 1 and 20. Print all even numbers in one column and their cube values in the next column. Also calculate the summation of the cube of these results. So the first thing, whenever you read any problem, read it carefully and then try to develop your own algo, write down some steps, okay, and then write the program. So you should actually try to write down the things step by step. So just to explain the same thing, I have used here the MATLAB the live editor, in which I am writing the text as well as the program. So what is the first step? The first step, you see basically the question is you have to print the all the even numbers between 1 to 20, okay, and then you have to calculate the cube of these numbers. After that you have to arrange the data that even numbers should be in one column like this, and the cube of these numbers should be in the another column, just the next to the column of the even number. So these three things you have to do. So what should be the first step? First step should be you should create all the even numbers between 1 to 20. So how you can create the all even number between between 1 to 20? You define a variable n, that n is equal to 2 even number, so there should be spacing of 2 and it goes to 20. Alright, I'm not using the semicolon here because just to ensure you the output. Alright, so I have defined a variable, I have defined a variable n, and in this variable I am trying to store all the even numbers, and you know that even number starts from 2 and the spacing is 2 and it goes up to 20 because you have to print up to 20 only. So this is the step number 1. In step 1 you have basically created all the even numbers. If you want to just verify here only, simply run this section. You see the n is having the elements 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 20, and these are basically the row vector. This is basically a row vector. I have mentioned here n is basically a row vector. Now after that you need to create the cube of all these elements. So define another variable n underscore say cube, and say this is what? This is basically the cube of all these numbers. You want to calculate the cube of 2, 4, 8, 6, 8, 10 and all elements. So basically you want element by element calculation. So you are looking for which operation? Array operation, not matrix operation. So basically you need to use the array operator. So in array operator you will write n dot caret 3. So this will calculate the cube of each and individual number which is stored in n. Now just to, if you want to check it, run this section, you will see it is calculating the cube of 2, calculating the cube of 4, similarly also calculating the cube of 20. So these two steps are correct. After that your job is not just to calculate the cube of all the even number between 1 and 20, but you have to arrange the output in a proper manner. In first column, in one column you want to store all n value, and in the next column you want to store all the cube value. So basically the point is this n is a row vector. In another way you can say you need to convert this row vector into a column vector, this row vector into a column vector. How you can do it? You can, the number of ways you can do it, but simplest way is simply by using a transpose of it. Okay, so you write simply n code, so that will convert this row vector into a column vector. Similarly this n underscore cube, in which you have stored the data which is the cube of all the individual elements of n, that is also a row vector, so you need to convert into a column vector. So you can easily do it by using simply using a prime. Now you have two column vector. You have basically two column vector, and you need to add them all together. So basically you have to add one column into the another column, or you need to add the one column into another matrix. You know how to do it. We have already discussed about how to add the rows and how to add the columns. How to add the columns? In case of adding the rows, you need to use the semicolon, then you write. In case of adding the column, simply you need to write the elements, give one spacing, and then write the values. Similarly, we'll do here in the step 3. What we'll try to do, we'll try to create basically a table. So I'm writing the table for this cube, this table for this cube or table for the data. I'm writing this, and then what is our job? Our job is to basically arrange all data into one column. So I'm writing here n prime or n dash. This will convert the row into the row vector into a column vector. Then I want to add another column vector into that, so just I need to give one spacing. And what column I want to add? I want to add this column, n underscore q. This is a row, then I write prime to it. So this is the another column. So the concept of adding the column, you can use it here. And if you want to see the output, just run the section and you will see that what is the output. Output is basically 10 cross 2. It is having 10 number of rows, okay, and 2 number of columns. The first column correspond to the all even number between 1 to 20, and the next column correspond to the cube value of all these even numbers. Okay, so we have arranged the data in the desired format. Now next question is, you also need to calculate the sum of all these cube of the numbers. Okay, so what you can do after doing this, you write cube. So you can do it here or can do here also. Okay, anyway, if you want to write here, you can write cube underscore summation, and that is what you can use a command sum that I have already discussed in the last class. If you want to calculate the sum, you can simply sum of the all elements of a vector, you can use a command sum n underscore q. Why I have written n underscore q? Because you want to calculate the q values of all the even numbers between 1 to 20. If somebody asks you to calculate the summation of the even number, that you can also do. Simply instead of writing n underscore q, you need to write the n. Okay, so again you just want to see the output. See, this will give you the summation of all the number. The detail about the sum command, how it works for the different matrices having dimension m cross n, where none of the n and m are 1, means it is not a vector. That will discuss in detail at later stage. But here, if you want to calculate the summation of any vector, whether it is a row vector or it is a column vector, you want to have the addition of all the elements of the vector, that you can do simply by using command sum. So you have seen that by dividing the problem into small number of steps and verifying it, you can easily find out the solution. If you want to write down the compile the total code at the same place, of course you can write it, but that needs some the practice. And just for the explanation purpose, I have used this live editor, and I have written with a different step 1, step 2 and step 3. Alright, so if you want to execute this also, you can simply remove this sign, the percentage sign, and this will also execute. So there is nothing new into it. So after this, I am moving to the problem number 4. After this, I am just moving to the problem number 4. The problem number 4 is the n plus 1th term of the famous Fibonacci series is given as this one. So you know about the Fibonacci series. Fibonacci series starts from the 0, 1, then the next term is basically summation of two previous terms. So 0, 1, 1, 2, 5 and
things like that. So in this problem they are not saying just to print the Fibonacci series, but they are saying that the n plus 1th term of the Fibonacci series is given by this equation. Alright, so some equation is given which is representing basically the nth term of the Fibonacci series, where n is given by 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. What is your job? Your job is to display the first 10 terms of the series and find out the summation. Okay, summation is alright. Once you generate all the numbers, you can easily calculate the summation. Now the job is how to print or how to calculate, how to display the first 10 terms of this series. Just be careful, the moment you are talking about the first 10 terms, you need to vary this small n value, and see n is not starting from 1, n is basically starting from 0. So first 10 terms means n will actually start from 0 and it will go up to 9. So this only thing point you need to remember, first point. So again this step is same. What you need to do first, since you need to print first 10 terms, you need to basically create a vector n which is running from 0 to 9, because this n is going to actually calculate the term of the any particular term which is given by this expression. So first we'll try to generate a vector which is starting from vector n, which is starting from 1 and going up to 9. Why? Because we need to calculate the first 10 term only. So it will start from 0, so it will go up to 9. If you want to see the output, you can run it. It will give the variable n which is having the elements 0 to 9. So this is alright. Now the next job is to write down the equation to solve it. So what I always suggest, that if you are very much beginner for writing the code, what you should always do, you should not try to write entire the term in a single line program, single line. You should make a practice to divide this, whatever the equation is given, in different parts. Say for this example, if you need to define Tn plus 1, then you should not try to write entire expression in one line. You should divide this into different parts. That will make your job easier, because if you use if you are not going to use proper way the brackets, whatever you are looking to find it out, maybe the MATLAB will not give you error, but some different calculation it will do. So to avoid any kind of the mistake, you should basically try to divide the given term into small number of terms. Say for example, if you need to define Tn plus 1, you can give this term, the first term, this is your under root 5 is denominator. Denominator is under root 5 only, otherwise if even the denominator is also the big term, so you first need to define this as some term which is the numerator, and this is the denominator, and then you can write this term is numerator divided by the denominator. But here denominator is under root 5 only, so you just need to concentrate about the numerator. So in numerator you have two terms, so you can define this term is with one variable, this term with the another variable, and then the total numerator is this term minus this term. Okay, so the same thing I have done here. See, I have tried to define T underscore n plus 1. T and this is T n plus 1 is written. So in the parameter I'm writing T underscore n plus 1, that is equal to T n underscore 1. So this term I have defined with the parameter with the name T n underscore 1. This one with the T n underscore 2. So what will be T n plus 1? So T n plus 1 will be T n underscore 1 minus T n underscore 2 divided by under root 5. So that will make your the calculation easier. So I'm writing T n underscore 1 is what you need to define. It is basically 1 plus under, so step by step you should write 1 plus under root 5 by 2 raised to power n. So I'll write 1 plus, it is under root 5, so sqrt is the command to calculate the square root.
sqrt of 5. Okay, and then it is divided by 2. So I'm writing closing 1 plus under root 5 into a bracket, and then I'm dividing it by 2. 1 plus under root 5 dividing by 2 and raised to power n. Okay, so again I will close this, the entire term here, and raised to power n means I will use dot caret sign n. Again be careful about this dot, because this is element by element calculation. You want to do the calculation for n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on, element by element. Alright, so this is your first term. What about the second term? The second term is similar one. You take copy and paste it here. Second term you want to define by 2. What is the difference in first term and second term? Only this minus sign. So this is minus sign. Alright, what is the t underscore n? T underscore n, if you want to give the name and n or n plus 1, whatever the name you want to write. Suppose you want to write n plus 1 only, so you write this is what? This is basically t n underscore 1 minus t n underscore 2 minus this divided by sqrt of 5. So okay, so in this way you can simplify the problem, and if you and that will avoid the in order to avoid the error. Just if you want to check whether the output is correct or not, again you run this section. Okay, sorry. This n plus 1 you cannot use it, but this will give you problem to you, so that's why I have written n. Okay, so see, if I use the t underscore n is equal to this sign, this term, you see the output is 0, 1, 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, and 13 plus 8 is 21, 21 plus 13 is 34. So output is correct output. So you got the correct output. So basically output is correct. Next job is to find out the summation. So that is the easiest job you can do. You want to have the summation of the Fibonacci series. So you write fib underscore sum is sum underscore the name of the vector where you have stored the data. Alright, and now you again run this section. So you see here you are getting the output 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and the summation is 88. So if you want to write down the entire program at one place, again you can write in the similar way. So I hope this is alright to all of you. Now the next job is to look at another application of the vectors. Say the question is write a program to plot a sine curve between 0 to 2 pi. So the moment this question comes to you, that you need to plot a write a program which make a plot between 0 to pi, means theta variation is there. Okay, and then accordingly you need to calculate sine of theta. So first your job is to create a vector. The first job is to create a vector between 0 to 2 pi. And how many number of points should be there? The number of points should be as high as possible, because if the number of points are small, you will not going to get a good and smooth curve. So first job is to creating the vector between 0 to pi. So let me write it 0 to 2 pi, and say for timing I'm writing only 10 number of points. See what is going to happen. What is the next step? Next step, you define the another the variable where you want to store the value of theta, that is sine of theta. Okay, and you already know that once you have the x value and you have y value, in MATLAB you just need to use a command which is a plot command, right? If you use a plot command, this is the previous result actually. So okay, let me write it here, no problem. So if you write a plot of theta, that is x variable, and sine th, which is in a y variable, and if you want to see the output, run this action. Still working. So see the output. The output is not, no, it is giving you the output, but it is not very smooth curve. The sine curve you already know. This is because you have just tried to create only 10 number of data. If instead of this you write say 100 and run this section, you get the better result. Okay, so the another use of the vectors are making the the different the trigonometric curves for the plotting purpose. The next question which I have taken, this need your more attention, because in this question you need to have you need to use the array operation, you need to use the vector operation, you also need to use the the addition of rows and column. So first I will read the question, okay, and then I will try to explain one by one. See, the question is the maximum height h achieved by an object thrown with a speed v at an angle theta to the horizontal, neglecting drag, is given by the expression h is equal to v square sine square theta by 2z. So what will the maximum height, that is achieved if any particular object is thrown with velocity v at an angle theta with the horizontal? That expression is given h is equal to v square sine square theta by 2g. Now what is the question? The question is, you need to basically create a table. Okay, you need to create a table showing maximum height for the values of v and theta. Okay, so different values of v are given and different values of theta are given. Now by using these values, basically you need to create a table like this. Okay, the rows of the table should correspond to the speed value, so this should correspond to the the speed value. Okay, the column, okay, the column should correspond to the angle value. All right, so if if a single value of v is given and single value of theta is given, you can just by writing the program you can calculate what is the height achievable height for the given theta and given v. But here the question is different. There are different kind of array of v is given. The array of velocity is given, which is having 1 2 3 4 5 6 elements. Now the array of the theta is given, which is having the element 1 2 3 and 4 elements. Now what you need to do, you need to create a table by using these data and this equation. You need to create a table which calculates the maximum achievable height by using these data. Okay, so in which the row are basically representing the velocities. Okay, so these are the velocities, and the columns are basically representing the angle. So if any element, say for example any element is here, say this particular element, and this particular element of the h should basically calculate the height for the velocity 14 and for the angle theta is 70. So basically need to create a kind of matrix, and see from here only what should if v is having a dimension of 6 1 2 3 4 5 6, what 1 2 3 4 5 6, and the theta is having a dimension of 1 2 3 4, so 4 elements are there in the theta. Then what should be the dimension of this matrix? This is the kind of matrix. The data you need to find it out. this will be a dimension of 1 2 3 4 5 6 6 cross 4 matrix. So basically you have a vector v of dimension 1 cross 6, you have the angle theta of a dimension of 1 cross 4, and you have to write a program which basically creates a matrix H, which basically creates a matrix H of dimension 6 cross 4. Okay, then only you get the data. Okay, now so this is I think clear to you. Your job is, the v is a vector, v is a velocity vector having dimension 1 cross 6, theta is your angle vector which is having a dimension of 1 cross 4. Now you need to write a program which creates a matrix of dimension 6 cross 4. So 6 cross 4 is when this 6 cross 4 is possible. 6 cross 4 matrix is possible if and only if you take a matrix multiplication of 6 cross 1 velocity vector, okay, with the matrix multiplication of 1 cross 4 of the angle vector. Alright, so you need to do one operation which is called matrix operation between the velocity and theta. Matrix operation between velocity and theta, and you have to make sure that the dimension of the velocity is 6 cross 1 and the dimension of this theta is 1 cross 4. Then only you will get a matrix of 6 cross 4. Okay, this is one thing very much clear. 2g is a constant, so need not to worry about it. V square is there. What is this v square? V square, you want to calculate the square of all the elements of velocity. So this v square operation should be an array operation. Sine square theta, okay, even sine theta, even the moment your theta is given and sine theta you want to calculate, simply you write sine theta. But sine square theta means you also need to calculate the square of all these sine theta value. So this is sine square theta is also an array operation. So there are two operations. One operation is array operation which is applicable on v square, sine square theta, and when you take the multiplication of this v square and sine square theta, that should be a matrix operation. So these things you have to be very careful. Just to explain the same thing again, I have tried to generate the matrix here. See, from the above table it is clear that in order to fill the blank entries we must need to generate an output of H, that is of 6 cross 4 matrix. 6 cross 4 matrix output can be get by performing the matrix multiplication of the vector v square of 6 cross 1 and angle vector of sine square theta of 1 cross 4. So basically we need a matrix operation, matrix multiplication between v square of having dimension 6 cross 1 and sine square theta having dimension 1 cross 4. Now the same thing I mentioned here, once this H matrix has been created, now this is about just the creation of matrix, H matrix. This is the first job. Now the second job is what? Second job is also need to write these numbers. You need to write these numbers 50, 60, 70, 80, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 20. This means basically after writing this matrix, after creating this matrix H, you need to add some row and you need to add some column. Okay, or you can say after writing this matrix, entire matrix creating H, you need to add first column, okay, and then you need to add some rows. So this is the final the goal which you need to achieve. So here we need to use the array operation, okay, you need to use the matrix operation, you need to convert the row into matrix, and after that you need to add the rows and column. So many things are involved here. So I'm trying to write one by one. See, the formula is having 2g where g is a constant. So first you define the, of course first you need to write clear all, then you define your gravitational constant g is equal to 9.8, what is after that? After that you have velocity. So you define the velocity. What is the velocity? Velocity is running from 10 to 20. I think 10 to 20 only. Yes, 10 to 20 with the spacing of 2. So this vector you can create by writing the command v is equal to 10 colon 2 colon 20, and I don't think now you need to again verify it. Next is the vector is theta. So let's write theta with the th, and theta is basically running from 50 to 80 with the spacing of 10. Yes, so 50 to it is going from 50 to 80 with the spacing of 10. So this command g is equal to 9.8, v is equal to 10 colon 2 colon 20, and theta is equal to 50 colon 10 colon 80. This will basically create all the required variables, required the variables which is need to calculate the h value. Whatever I have explained just few minutes before, same thing I have written over here. V is given to you. Okay, v is you have created a vector. You have calculated the velocity from 10 to 20 and stored with the name of v. If you want to calculate the v square, simply you will write v dot caret 2. That will calculate the square of all the velocity. Okay, but you need to convert this. The dimension of this will be 1 by 6 only. You need to convert into 6 by 1. So if you convert into the 6 by 1, it will look like this. So instead of writing the values, I have written v1 square, v2 square, v3 square, v4 square, v5 square, and v6 square. So the velocity, square of velocity are basically stored in a column vector by 6 by 1. Now the second one is sine square theta. Okay, so you have a theta. If you write sine theta and calculate sine square theta, then you can calculate a vector of a dimension of 1 cross 4. So 6 cross 1 and 1 cross 4. If you do a simple multiplication, matrix multiplication, you will get v1 square. What is the first entry of this? v1 square sine square theta. v1 square sine square theta 2, the second element. What is the third element? Third element will be v1 square sine square theta 2. What will the fourth element? Fourth element will be v1 square sine square theta 4. And the same thing you are looking here. What is the value of this? The value of this should be v square sine square theta 4 divided by 2g. Okay, so if you create a matrix and convert them in this way, it will give you the desired output. This the matrix I have just written just to explain you the concept we are discussing about. Okay, so you have g, we have v, and we have theta. Now what we need to do? First we need to calculate a matrix, a column matrix. You need to calculate a column matrix which is having the square of individual velocity. So I am writing h is equal to, what you need to do? V square. So v square, if you write simply v square, if you write simply v caret 2, so this will basically calculate the individual square of the velocity element. But the problem is this output will be a row vector. We want into a column vector. So one way, either you first calculate and then take a prime, or you first take the prime. Okay, take a prime and calculate the square. If you want to check it, that you can also do, you can check it. So one thing is, either you first calculate the square of individual element and then mark a prime here, or in other way you can also do. So this is going to give you the column vector. If you just want to check it, okay, just if you want to check it, let me first satisfy you that this is all right. Yes, okay, this is giving you 10 square, 12 square, and so on. So this is one thing we have calculated. What is the next job? Your next job is basically to calculate a row matrix of sine square theta. So, and in between we need to do what? A matrix operation. If you want to split it, that you can also do. You write h1, you write h2, then you do the multiplication. Otherwise you write star, and then what you want to calculate, sine theta. So you'll write sine, and since the angle are basically in theta, so MATLAB also provide you the another command, instead of sine theta you can write sine d theta. So if you write sine theta, there the argument should be in radian, but if you want the angle argument directly in the degree calculation, instead of sine theta you can write sine d, means now your argument will be taken in degree. Usually the argument is taken in radian, so no conversion is required here. So with what name did you have stored the value of theta, that is th. So sine of sine dth, that will actually give you the sine theta value, but you need to calculate sine square theta of each element, that is by dot caret this 2. Okay, and then I will take this element inside the bracket. So this is giving you, this term is basically giving you a column vector of 6 cross 1. This is going to give you a row vector of 1 cross 4. If you want to check, you can also check it. Okay, so this is one and this is the another one, and then I want to divide it by 2g. So I'll write divided by 2 into g. You may ask me, now you have not used here the dot, you can use a dot, but since you are going to divide by a scalar number, both will work fine. So it is up to you, even if you use it or you won't use it, but just to make in practice you should use it. So now you will see that now after this command, this will create, or this should create a matrix of 6 by 4. Let me run it. See, this is creating a matrix. This multiplier, it is here they have given the multiplier of 10 raised to power 3. So this is basically creating a matrix of what dimension, 6 cross 4, which was required. If you want to check the individual calculation, that you can also do. The format you can always change by format commands that we have already mentioned in the first PPT, and maybe have not discussed, but it is mentioned in the last slide, so you can go through it. But one thing, it has done the job. It has actually calculated the H matrix of a dimension 6 cross 4, in which the rows represents the velocity, and the column represents the your angle. Now what is the next job? Next job is, so this job is all right. Now next job is to represent like this, not just H matrix we want. H matrix is this one, whatever we have created, this part we have created. Now we need to add these numbers as well, angle numbers and velocity. 0 is just written in order to just fill this value. Okay, 0 is not we are going to calculate anywhere, so, but we need to basically write these numbers along with this H to give the better representation. Now the question is how you can go for it. You can go for it by two ways. Say for example, if you don't know about this, simply you need this H matrix. This is entire H matrix. Okay, so first way of writing the entire thing is, this is one matrix is given, you add this row, only 50, 60, 70 and 80. So that will make a new matrix, and after that you add one column, this column. Okay, this is one way. The another way is, this H matrix is given, you first add one column to this, so that will make this matrix, and now you add one row into it. So by using both the approach, you can make a table. So I have written both the approaches here. The first one, you want the tabulated output, output 1. So the first approach we can go for, say this H matrix is given to you. Okay, this H matrix is given to you, and now first add one column into this matrix. Okay, and after that you add one row into it. So how you can do it? I will do step by step. What H is given to you? Okay, so I have written H here. So this is your H. Okay, this is entire H. This is entire H. Now you want to add one column, that is your V, but V is not a column matrix, so you can always write V prime. So V, if you write V prime, one column will come, and you want to add one column. You know how to add one column. You already know how to add. Simply write down the values. Okay, so since I need to add the column before this H, so I will write V prime, like one space. Just see this command first. Just see the output. First see this output. Here see, this is the H, and I have written here V prime. So this is giving me 1, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 20. This entry it is giving to me. So whatever we have tried to add first, that we have added. Now after that we need to add what? This theta value. This theta value. The theta value is having the entry 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 element. You cannot add only 4 element in a matrix which is having the dimension of 1, 2, 6 rows and 5 columns. So you need to add something over here. So that is why 0 we have written. So this you can do by writing a 0 and this row matrix. You know how to add a row matrix? This matrix is given to you, and now you want to add a row matrix, but you want this row should be before this. So first you need to write this row, and then you use semicolon and write this matrix. So that is why what I will do after this, first semicolon, because I want to add a row before this matrix. Okay, I want to add one row before this matrix. And what is that matrix? The first element of the matrix is 0, and rest of the elements are basically theta. Okay, so now see, if I'll write it here, it is adding the elements 0, 50, 60, 70 and so on. Let me write it. It is working the same. Anyway, so this is one of the way to find out the tabulated, the entry. The another way, which the approach I mentioned about, what you can do, you first add. This H matrix is given. You first add one row to it, and then add one column. So if you want to do that, you write here. Okay, it is somewhat is not coming here. Anyway, tabulated output underscore 2. What we want to do, we want to first add H matrix is given, and you want to add one row. You want to add one row just before to it. Okay, you want to, this H matrix is given, and you want to add this row 50, 60, 70 and 80 just before to this. So you write semicolon, and the row you want to add, that row is basically theta. So this will just, if you want to see the output, okay, let me see the output. It is actually adding the one row just before it. So this is all right. Now after that you need to add the another column to it. Okay, you need to add another column just before this. You want to, now you have this matrix, now you have this much matrix, and you want to add one column before that, and that column you will see that you will write, you need to write v prime. So v prime will give you 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 20. Again there is no entry over here, so you will write 0 to it, and in writing 0 to it basically are going to add one row into it. Okay, so in order to do that, what we can do, just see, you first define this as in one matrix. Okay, and before this matrix you need to add one column, before, not after. So if you add to if you need to add this after, you will write somewhere here, but if you need to add just before to it, and you want to add a column not a row, so you need to use semicolon. What you want to add, you want to add one column. What is that column? V prime. But the moment you use v prime, the dimension is not going to match. Okay, so what you will try to add, you will just try to add the number 0, and that number 0 you want to add in one column matrix. So how you can add a row? रो कैसे ऐड कर सकते हैं? जस्ट बिफोर वी प्राइम ऐड करना है, सो विल राइट 0 एंड देन विल राइट column, because we want to add 0 which is a new row into this column. So we'll use 0 colon v prime and just close it. So in this way you can also create the same output. See, the same output, we'll get it here. So in today's lecture I just try to convey the things that how you can use the concept of the array operation, matrix operation, the addition of rows and addition of the vectors. So, and how the care should be taken while reading any program and converting them into algo, so that you can write down the program. So this is all about the today's lecture. Hope this will be really helpful for all of you for solving the further problems.